Goeiemiddag mense. Okay, so it's Tuesday. I'm out in my little LM Berea section, Lorenzo Marks Berea, and I haven't done anything to this, I think, since about, fertilizer wise, I think since about November, early December, somewhere around there. And since then, this grass has just been deteriorating, and I haven't actively watered it once since about the beginning of December. I've just let it, whatever rain it got, that's what I've left, or that's what I've used, should I say. So yeah, let me show you the problems that I'm experiencing. Alright, so if you look at it, firstly you can tell the effects of autumn. It doesn't look too terrible. You can tell I haven't done the edges for a while. That little patch over there is almost cleared up, but it did take another little bit of a knock. Around this tree I had termites the other day, and the termites were nailed after they started nailing my tree. But all in all, it looks thick. It's one of those nice from far but far from nice situations. But this section never gives me trouble, or has never really ever given me trouble. It uses the least fertilizer, the least water, but obviously leaving it alone stuffs it up. And I noticed that it does appear that more of the damage is in the sunny areas, and the very shady areas seem to be a little bit better. So if you have a look at this looks perfectly fine. It's got a bit of spring coming back. But let me show you what I'm more concerned about. So here's where I've got a bit of a big worry. And it's up against this leading edge. You can almost tell this kind of brownish color happening underneath here. And it could have been some sort of termite damage before I killed it, because the tree's right there. But this, the whole surface kind of looks like a little bit, you can't really tell it in the video. It looks loose. I'm not going to go through a process of elimination and try and figure this one out. I'm just going to assume that it's neglect that's led it to this. You can clearly tell there. And here it looks okay. So, I'm calling it neglect. Oh, sorry, I actually forgot to mention that I did. So about 10 days ago, when I noticed that it was looking like really shoddy, I put down my last little bit of Oro Vital and NC32, and it did green up just a bit, and it got perky for about 4 or 5 days, and then it just started to go pop again. This grass normally stands up firm. It's got like a good stance about it. When you mow the grass, it's got this, like, you feel like you're attacking the surface of the lawn, and at the moment it's lying flat. It's got no vigor whatsoever. So normally I would go and put down a wetting agent, and then I start a different process. First I would actually test for other insect issues. As I said, now I'm calling it neglect. So instead of putting down a wetting agent, what I've done is you wet the ground a little bit first before you put down any product. You give it an hour or two, let that just sort of settle. Now I'm going to go and put down my product. In this case I'm just going to use natural Kelp Plus. We've already spoken about it in the previous videos, and I've never put it out here. So I'm going to drench the ground heavily with natural Kelp Plus. So I'm just going to take a walk around this yard and get a couple of other shots and what have you of the let's say the before look. So this is not really the before look, this is the wet before look, or the damp before look. And then over the weekend I will give you an update and see if it's regained some vigor, some new life. And if it hasn't, then I've got a different issue, and we can try and find out what that issue is together. So yeah, let's see if we can fix what I think is neglect. Okay, so you already know that's the stuff. I'm going to put it into one of these little things with the venturi on the end of it. This is about 150 square meters, this whole area out here. Well, lawn is about 150, it's about 250 with the beds. I'm going to mix up the ratio that I need for a drench. So I think it was 60 mils per 100 square meters when using it as a drench. So yeah, let me get to that and we will spray. Okay, so I've just finished with the application. I'm now going to just water it in even more. I'm going to show you a couple of the bad areas. So this is directly after the application, between the trees. That's now spot number 1 that we know we need to check up on, between the palm trees. Then next to the palm trees there's the other spot that's looking a bit dodgy. It's all kind of looking like this. It's just these are the areas that are worse. Then there at the back end, I can't use the other hand to show you what I'm pointing at, but at the back there's a bit of a patch, and obviously that patch was never filled in. And then here is spot number 4. That is also quite heavily damaged just here. So that is what, and then obviously at the end, which I keep forgetting about. So that as well. So that is what we are going to keep our eye out for. It'll be obvious evidence to whether or not the natural Kelp Plus is going to do what it needs to do. Cheers. Okay, so I finished with watering it in. So that's natural Kelp done. It's Tuesday the something of March, and it is 3:45 in the afternoon. So tomorrow morning I'll come back out here and have a look again. What we're testing for is spring in the step. It needs to stand up higher, like you see. It just, I don't know if you can see that. Man, it just looks, you know, LM grass always has this kind of like, your foot will squish in, and it's the same thing with buffalo. You'll sort of squish in and then come back out again, and then it perks back up. And this though is, I really can't show it to you properly on the video. It's like it's sitting, it's like a blanket just laying on the surface of the ground. So let's see what happens in a little while. I'll keep you posted if I turn this into a video on its own. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Otherwise, I will show you what happens tomorrow and over the next couple of days, and then we'll say goodbye. Okay, got sprinklers on the other side, so I hope it's not too noisy. This is the day after I put down natural Kelp Plus, and I gave it a sort of normal height mow. This is where I would normally, or the height that I would normally mow at. And okay, it's just at a bit of a wetting now, so it is unfair to try and judge, but I do think this underneath does look a lot greener. And remember, I've now taken off the surface as well. This also, you can still see a little bit of the damage there, but the plant itself is looking just slightly healthier. But again, we don't know now because of all the moisture that's on it. So I'm going to leave it until this afternoon when it dries out, and then we will examine it again, and I will just keep monitoring the progress. Okie dokie, so Friday afternoon, 3:30, so it's almost the exact same time as when we started this whole process on Tuesday. So you would have seen I forgot to film on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday entirely. I just gave you the shot on Wednesday morning, and now you're going to see Friday. Sorry about that, but the results are significant. From when I filmed on Tuesday afternoon, I had watered in this entire section of the yard. I have now just watered it again, just to show you sort of how it looked wet then and wet now, because if I'd shown you a dry look now, it would look worse than the wet look then. If I could, I mean, you know what that's like. So let's have a look. Okay, so besides all my weeds that still need to be sorted out, that's going to get done on the weekend, and all the leaves, you can definitely see it's autumn. Yeah, it is noticeably better. So let's go look for those areas that we know were problematic. The first one was here. You can actually tell it gets a little bit more sun there, so it shows me again it's neglect. So as you can tell, let's try and get out the light. There's a little bit of the damage still showing, but considerably better because it was quite a big section. And there it is. And the section between the trees is looking quite good, although that's always had damage because I never really got sprinklers or anything, so every time I have watered it's just missed there anyway, including now. You can actually still see that this part here doesn't have any water on it. It's this little V shape. From that quick wetting, it's dry versus being wet right here. And a lot of that whitish look that you see there now is because of those things falling out the palm trees. I don't like this time of year. The area in the back there started taking quite nicely, and this is still just doing its thing. I shouldn't have taken the bricks away from this. Those bricks were helping a lot. Anyway, I did my little footsie test the other day, and you would have noticed that it was, well, you wouldn't have noticed, I noticed that it was very loose. And if we look here where it was extra dry, this is it, guys. This is the spot that was super duper dry the other day and was moving under my feet. Well, the spot that was really bad, and it is now, I would say, almost where it should be. You can clearly tell there's no more damage there. And if I just sort of hover across, you knew that it was a bit greener there. And have a look here, and then obviously the corner was also a little bit damaged. It still is, but I mean, that is, sorry, trying to find the right angle. There's no right angle this time of the day, but that is spot on. No problem there. We have got recovery. So I'm gonna call it a success. One application of natural Kelp Plus sorted it out. So it's a Tuesday afternoon, so it's Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon. That's 3 days from when you saw it looking bone dry. It had one good wetting upon application. It had a little spray the following morning when I was actually fixing the scalped kikuyu section that I got across the driveway back there. And this wetting that you see here now is less than 5 minutes. I just got it wet so that you could see the surface of the grass wet. It's about as good as what I can prove to you. But yeah, anyway, I think that's good enough. Please like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that you get reminded every time I put up a new video. And please jump into the website, get a hold of me on Instagram. I like to chat to people and hear what your problems are and what we could do to try and fix them. And anyway, thanks again. Cheers.